It's time to talk about a legend. Bruce Lee was one of the first martial artists to train in multiple styles. His goal was to figure out what worked best from each art. He absorbed what was useful, discarded what was useless, and added what was essentially his own.
What is this thing you do?
In Cantonese, Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist.
Intercepting fist, huh?
Bruce Lee developed Jeet Kune Do for street fighting, but many of the techniques have proven highly effective in mixed martial arts.
I'm using my longest weapon, my sidekick, against the nearest target, your kneecap. This can be compared to your left jab in boxing, except it's much more damaging.
I see.
The first is a technique that took a long time to catch on, but once it did, it was a game changer. Bruce Lee's quick advance sidekick to the knee follows Lee's principle of longest weapon to nearest target, and is used primarily by long-range fighters like Conor McGregor, who want to keep the distance and quickly dart in and out. Speaking of kicks to the leg, the oblique kick was another of Bruce Lee's favorites, only becoming prominent within the last few years, and used by the likes of John Jones. The oblique kick stops fighters as they come in. This kick was a staple of savate, an old French kickboxing style Lee found valuable. Apparently, they used to compete with steel-tipped boots, and therefore favored hitting with the toes. But in his book, The Tao of Jeet Kune Do, Lee advises striking with your heel. Next up is trapping. This is where you catch your opponent's punch with a parry, and then hold his hand down as you strike with your other hand. This technique simultaneously takes away one of your opponent's weapons, and creates an opening for yours. Recently, Tony Ferguson and Anderson Silva have been experimenting with this aspect of Wing Chun. Wing Chun was Bruce Lee's original style, and while he discarded much of it, he found trapping to still be highly useful. This technique is still in its infancy in MMA, so it will be really interesting to see if it's further developed. Last but not least, let's look at Bruce Lee's approach to grappling. By the time he had passed, Bruce Lee had a thorough knowledge of grappling, but had yet to put his own unique spin on it. But hidden in the grappling section of Tao of Jeet Kune Do is the combination that would become the go-to standard for most takedowns: the jab to double leg takedown. Almost casually drawn in, this technique would become the most used setup for wrestlers, and was mastered by the likes of Georges St. Pierre. He would use it to distract his opponents and get them to raise their guard, giving them less of a chance of stifling his takedowns. It would have been fascinating to see what Lee's unique take on grappling developed into, but we can guess by his drawings that there would have been a lot of heel hooks, eye gouges, and strikes to the groin. Bruce Lee knew that no one way or style could be right all of the time. But as it turns out, his style and his philosophy are still relevant to this day. By the way, I've left an affiliate link to the Tao of Jeet Kune Do in the description below. Until next time, this has been David Christian from The Modern Martial Artist, wishing you happy training.